All right, and with that, I would like to introduce the excellent panel that will be here with us today, and who will share their vision and experience in bridging the gap between these two sectors, space and climate tech. I would like to ask Daniel Seidel, co-founder and co-CEO of LiveEO, up here, please. Welcome. Then Rita Rinaldo, Head of Projects and Studies Implementation Division at the European Space Agency. Hello. Rüdiger Süß, Head of the DLR Startup Factory. Welcome. And Oscar de Castillo, Project Manager and Lead Architect SATCOM at Elia Asset and Elia Group. Welcome everyone on stage. It's great that you join us here today, and I would like each one of you to introduce yourself briefly and also explain a little bit or let us know about the topics that you're currently working on in the space and or energy sector. Let's start with you, Daniel.
Yeah, first of all, I'm super happy to be here, and just that we could watch this video was really eye-opening for me, because I started LiveEO in 2018 with a vision to actually monitor energy infrastructure from space, and back then we were always the first talking about this problem, and now we see that the market is educated and there is a lot of traction behind this. So what we at LiveEO do, we utilize high-resolution satellite imagery, and we actually model vegetation and also the risk caused by vegetation. This is a global problem, so already today we are operating on 5 continents, from a transmission grid operator in Australia to one in India, or a distribution grid operator in the US. And yeah, we use artificial intelligence. It's a lot of data and a lot of imagery. So that's in a nutshell.
Thank you. Rita.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today and see such a thriving community. A short introduction. We are the part of the European Space Agency that looks really how to help companies in developing solutions that make use of space, space data, space technology, for utilizing it in other sectors, including energy. So we have supported more than 120 projects so far since our program starts, with startup, but also SMEs and established company, bringing together the space community and the energy sector community. And we are open always to receive new ideas for innovative solutions that make use of space, because there are brilliant ideas out there in the community, and our challenge is really to reach them and help them in their growth journey, as well as to put forward new challenges, new topics, new initiatives. And in 2025, specifically, we have worked with dena, with EPRI, with Elia, with our partners in defining use cases for new topics. So I take the chance to mention them briefly if anyone in the audience is interested. The first one is about the digital transformation of the energy sector. So it's called Integrated Digital Solution for the Energy Sector, where we look at ideas for using, for example, satellite communication network, 5G networks. We will also make available our hub, if of interest, together with digital technologies like AI, AR, VR, and other technologies, space data as well, GNSS. So all what could be used for supporting smart grid management, energy production and storage, and all the challenges of the digital transformation of the energy sector. The second topic that we have identified is about green hydrogen. And there we look for ideas that use space for energy generation and storage, distribution, and its application in the different vertical sector, from transportation to industry to maritime. Last is about a new topic, perhaps a bit niche, that is utilization of space weather data, and see what impact they could have on disruptions, particularly high latitudes. We know that those events can cause disruption into infrastructure, including energy. So these are the three major topics. We are going to launch initiatives, so if you are interested, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Rita. Rüdiger.
So thank you. My name is Rüdiger Süß. I'm the head of the DLR Startup Factory. So the DLR is, as you can see, the German Aerospace Center. But what you perhaps not know is that we do energy, transport, digitization, and also security and defense. And that's why I'm here, because we decided 2 years ago to group all the startup activities that comes out of DLR into one group. That's a startup factory team. And of course, we have their space startups, and I had the numbers that a quarter of our whole startups are energy startups. So, and we combine all these together with the mobility and aeronautic startups, so for variety reasons. And the DLR Startup Factory is like a five-level company team, from idea generation until the validation of your topic, of your business idea, until the investing. So we can also invest in startups. We do that with a mirror investor, so we can go up to 500,000 in the Series A or pre-seed, whatever. And so we do this also already in energy startups as well. So thank you very much. And as I say, for the energy things, is really what we really can see is a lot of times people say this is a space startup. At the end, it is an energy startup. So for us, we actually don't care anymore. But I can come later to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rüdiger. Oscar.
Hello, I work for a transmission system operator for electricity, Elia Group, that has operations in Belgium and Eastern Germany, 15 Hertz here in Germany. And our mission is to keep the lights on. Security of supply is our main target. And we do it in a changing environment with geopolitical tensions and with massive integration of renewables in our energy mix. So we face challenges like resilience. We face challenges like distributed assets. And we look at space. We belong to a community of transmission system operators in Europe where we face similar challenges. So we begin to look at space to find solutions to our problems. And through collaboration with the European Space Agency and the industry, we are finding a way to deploy networks that support continuity, service continuity in the event of any kind of cyber attack or blackout. And what we see in space in our community is that we need more startups. We need more out-of-the-box thinking to help us to solve our problems. We need solutions that are not supplied by the standard industry. And that's why we, at Elia Group, a very innovative TSO amongst the groups, we believe that participation on this forum can help all of the community. And that's why we engage in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, in order to kind of set the scene and framework a little bit for the first round of questions, how does space technology help actually accelerate the energy transition? Each one of you has got different examples or is working on different aspects. So, Daniel, do you want to start?
Yeah, so the interesting thing, it's really about first principles. Energy infrastructure is distributed globally, right? So it's everywhere. It's covering large areas, if it's energy production, energy transportation, and then you have a lot of external threats which are rising, right? Climate change, which affects the infrastructure. And when we thought about what kind of problems we want to solve with LiveEO, with space technology, it was actually like a perfect problem solution fit, because space technology can cover large areas. Not only one country, actually globally, and then you just need to find the right use cases, right? And we talked about communication, We are more on the monitoring side, but there are so many things you can actually do. And that's why I think it's, like we were early movers back then for the monitoring part, for the transportation. But I see so many cases out there for startups, which we just can't do because there's just too much to do. Yeah.
So you actually looked at an energy problem and then looked at space to help you solve it? Or did you look at the space perspective and then found energy as an application for it?
So yeah, we are guilty. I'm a space engineer. My co-founder is a space engineer. But what we have seen is actually that the space industry gets commercialized. Right, in 2017, 2016, SpaceX was coming up. New satellite operators were coming up. The European Commission started the Copernicus program for imagery. And then we said, okay, let's build a company that brings space technology into the commercial industry, not only defense and intelligence. And then 2017, there were a lot of storms. Right, I know the names of these storms, Xavier and Herwart. They caused a lot of outages, a lot of train cancellations. And that's how we actually found the fit. Like there was a big problem, and then we worked our way back to, okay, how can we solve this problem with space? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Fascinating. Rita, how do you feel like space can help, or space technology can help accelerate the energy transition?
It's a very difficult question because there are so many ways. I think if we didn't have 20 minutes, but 3 times more, all of us could come up with so many examples. And the example brought by Daniel, of course, is a very significant one. So how to use satellite Earth observation data, and of course there is Copernicus, but there are also a lot of private available data, because we witness an era where there is a democratization of the space technology and data. So we are lucky enough, and I feel very privileged that now it's come really the time of using and exploiting those data and supporting companies to innovate. And there is no clear discrimination from space and non-space, because I believe it's very important that we are acknowledging that we are in the digital era. So there should be a definition of a solution based on a package of space and digital technology to address what the user really wants. And what do the user want in the energy sector is not to me to say, but what we see in our projects is that there are tremendous examples, a very successful application of Earth observation data for grid management, like Daniel and LiveEO example. Also for planning of microgrids, for example, in Europe, like solar-based, solar at home, but also in developing countries. So we had a few very interesting and successful projects supporting the end-to-end change from the planning to the support of operation and maintenance of microgrids in developing countries, for instance. And I would say space data is a part of it, so Earth observation, but there are other technologies like IoT. And the seamless connectivity given by 5G, it's another game changer, because it enables to transfer in real time data from everywhere, and therefore it allows a much better and finer granularity in the monitoring and management of the grids. And this will be probably also playing a big role in the future when we are looking for real-time data analytics to plan demand response type of applications for predictive maintenance in order to increase cost efficiency. And many more, electric mobility, etc. But I think these are important examples to make.
Thank you, Rita. Rüdiger, where do you see the opportunities?
Wow, there's not much more to say, but I really would like to talk on this digital area. Because what we really do see is a lot of algorithms that are used for space, like to process data. We know how to process data. But the thing is to see what is in the data, what are trends, what are anomalies, where it's going to. So it shifts really what we use what we used in space for data processing, when in space data science, where the information goes in, what kind of information goes in, how this data is going to challenge how we work with this. And this we brought back to our energy. How grids, where the data come. We have so many sensors data, geoprocessing data. There is a data fusion of it, and that is what it's. And then the question is it really a space data thing, or is it just used first in space and then transferred to energy? And that is most of the points, or that we see here with surveillance. So for me, space has two things. The first is the space market in itself. The second is the space-based technology, or in space-used technology for Earth. And this is also like satellites, like cameras. For me, a satellite is just a flying box with an antenna and a camera on it. It's nothing else. For how you use it, for deep space, or you're looking back on Earth. So just to say that. And this is one thing. So the space transportation is like, for me, bring the cameras up to look on wider, bigger areas. I think you will make a point after that. We talked before that. So all these technologies, or material science, right? To see how protect very cold, very hot. We use these materials to shield energy, warmth. You know, if you have hot energy things on Earth, to protect it to a cold side of the other side, right? So we have introduced a material-induced heating system, tested in space. Now it runs for cement factories, right? Or energy management system. We have a problem up there with space and energy. Energy has to be there, the right time, the right amount of space. We use it for grids. So is it a space technology? No, it's space-proven, used on Earth.
Thank you, Rüdiger. Oscar.
Yeah, the energy transition for TSOs brings a number of challenges, and amongst them, when we collaboration, partnership, energy transition is not a challenge for one member state or one country or one TSO alone. And what we need is to strengthen links and to find ways to collaborate. And what we see in space is the creation of a platform, secure platform, where we can exchange and accelerate of our digitalization. As Rita mentioned with the call, digitalization requires we have certain requirements when it comes to IT security. So to count on resilient, secure communications, plus the possibility to monitor assets and distribute the information securely, it is really is an accelerating factor the way we see on the TSO community. Space can help us to accelerate our move towards the energy transition. Energy autonomy, strategic autonomy, all of them come hand in hand. Cutting dependency from East means strengthening links, sharing more power, balancing power between member states. All of that requires real-time monitoring of assets distributed over multiple countries. And we see in space a sovereign platform, European. We rely on the European Union Space Program, the components like Copernicus, secure SATCOM, Galileo. So Galileo brings something very relevant for us. Nowadays, it's a problem we all face. Synchronization. Synchronization for exchange of power. We need a secure and difficult to crack time reference that we can share. And that's where we look. And right now, as we speak, we are putting together, we are collaborating all TSOs with ESA and with the European Network of Transmission System Operators to come up with a consolidated view of how we plan, all of us, to use space to enable startups and industry to come and look at us, understand who we are, how we fund, how we budget, and how we operate, so that we get a common view. And that's how we see space, a way to strengthen collaboration.
Thank you very much, Oscar. And I think you already touched upon a very important topic here, and that's also the next question I have for you is, like, where do you see the role of startups and innovation in bridging this gap and bringing together the sectors? And maybe where do you see, what do we need to do more to help them to come together and fully leverage the potential that's out there? Daniel.
Yeah, I think what we have seen on the Earth observation side in the last years was that there were a lot of misconceptions about the technology. So, you know, everyone, or maybe a lot of you guys have watched the Jason Bourne movies, and you get a real-time, high-resolution image just the second. That's not how it works, unfortunately. So, also the imagery still comes at a cost, like the high-resolution imagery. And then there was on the other side the free data from the Copernicus program, where then everyone said, why should I pay for data when I get the free data? But when we have seen in the past years, when then utilities worked with the data and worked with startups, there was a market education. And I think this can be stimulated also for other problems, also in communication, that we can actually accelerate the phase of that the utilities get to know the space technology. But also the other way around, for us it was very important to understand the nuances of the energy industry. I think right now we have more energy expertise in the company as we have space expertise. And I think this took us years because we were somehow an early mover, but now I think that's accelerated. Yeah.
I think it's very interesting this that you said, because it's really our goal, right, to help companies through testing their ideas directly with the prospective customers. So in this case, indeed, the utilities and the energy operators. It's not only R&D, but it's really bringing that R&D to exploitation, to fruition, and the only way to do that is to support the companies in piloting those ideas, getting feedback, improving their solution. And the next step, I would say, would be scaling, growing, and exporting that internationally, and maybe to adjacent market or maybe into other uses. When we started the Space for Innovation Energy Task Force with some of you and others joined after, we had in mind to really have a platform for bridging the space and the energy sector, for deriving use cases, ideas where we could see an opportunity and the benefit of using space, and we continue to do that enthusiastically. And actually there are always new candidates from the energy sector that would like to join, which also fills us with proudness. At the same time, I think we should exploit this capability also for increasing adoption, increasing growth of the good solutions that we have helped companies to develop in order to increase the awareness also in the energy utilities and providers of what could be delivered by space and digital community. So I think if we nurture this exchange, everyone will benefit, I'm sure. So this is our goal and our mission.
Thank you. Rüdiger.
Yeah, so thank you. Let me add on this with two examples. When we have here a startup, see Louis sitting from HeatBrain, and actually he's a very good example because at the end they started with energy data, and then they said, okay, but where do you get the big picture? Oh, we need space data. Then we had them talk with our space guys, okay? So bring really the people together. Let them explore together. And then you can bridge the gap, okay? That is very important. So they can use space data for the change of the energy transition in Germany at the moment. So it's a great example. The second thing that I really see bringing people together is like, I just can pick here, I see in the backyard, one is like H2Up, and hydrogen. We are researchers. They come from the industry side. Bring the people together. Really make formats like here where they really explore common ideas, common grounds, and just what Daniel said, it's in the startup area, you talk a lot of times on problem-solution fit, right? What we really see, what really counts, is problem-market fit, okay? And even markets fit. It's not one market, it's markets. You have to address, you have to know the market of space and energy. Exactly what you said. You came from space, now you're more energy-wiser in your company, so you have the problem-market fit. And it's the customer area where the customer really operates in. And how we do it, bring it together, the two worlds, researchers from space, researchers from energy, like here, have breakout sessions, have platforms. And I think then you have to understand the other side. And this, I think, will help really a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally agree. And market orientation, understanding the needs of clients, in our case, transmission system operators. In my journey through Elia, I started on operations, and I faced incumbents or the suppliers that were very rigid and supplying solutions that were not matching our needs. And we have headaches to try to make them come to understand what it means security of supply, and that we are not enterprise. We are not military, but we are critical infrastructure operators. And they had a hard time to grasp the concept. So the solution I found is I have a team of colleagues in innovation that are people who work with startups. And then we had the possibility to break the cycle, do radical innovation, and change their way based on our specific needs. And that's why the collaboration with innovation has offered a fresh air, motivated a lot of energy, collaboration with our TSOs, because the innovation departments and TSOs work very linked together with each other. And that's what Rüdiger just mentioned, is that this is like, let's say, an advanced force that we have at the innovation departments and TSOs, where we are not fully regulated. Of course, we have to follow regulation. We are critical infrastructure operators, but when it comes to test new technologies, we have a bit more flexibility. And the solutions we need are not existing in the market today. And we need someone to look at what is exactly what we need and to differentiate their offering from the traditional incumbents who come with the same that serve no needs. And that's one of the showstoppers, that's why we don't see more space being used by TSOs today, is because the offering we get is not adapted to our needs. And that's something that we are willing to explore, we are willing to explain in detail, so we are open to discuss and to receive questions and answer questions and establish a dialogue.
Thank you. Okay, we're coming to an end of the session, but one quick last round for you is, so we have lots of energy startups here today. To all the startups who listen to us, or maybe they're doing something else, but they saw that there's this panel and they think, oh, it would be interesting to know what's going on. Would I fit into, like, would my startup qualify or have the potential to actually use space data or move into the space sector or somehow connect? What would you advise them, or how would you tell a startup what should they do in order to explore opportunities other than obviously talk to you, which would be a great first step? But do you have any tip that you would give a startup to say, why don't you look at this resource or institute?
I mean, when you now think about the upcoming challenges, we have to build up a lot of infrastructure. That's a spatial problem, and whenever in your product you have geospatial data, not only a GPS location, but you actually need geospatial data, you should look into space technology, because when we talk about space data, you know, there's even if you go into the subsection of thermal imaging, there is even there are different classes of what thermal imagers can do, right? So it can be overwhelming at the beginning, but you should really think and then walk your way through. We now have our good friend ChatGPT and others who can walk you through. That was not there when we started. But I think it's a perfect timing right now to start. Also, when we see the German government now, independent of how the money is coming, but there will be a lot of money going into the energy industry, not only on national level. We also see this in the US. We see this globally. So AI, space data, and all the funding what goes into the market is a perfect starting point for your startup, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, on my side, a very practical hint. We have a very good web page, business.isa.int, where you can find a lot of examples for inspirations. Because as we were saying before, we have we hope collectively to have inspired the audience today with a few examples, but there are many more. And you can find, we have a dedicated pages on space for energy. We have also a booth here, so if you like in the remaining of the afternoon to pass by, we can provide you with more information. And specifically, I think if you cannot find your idea there, of course, then it's a good idea to propose it, to put it forward. And we are also, and maybe you feel that there is a gap, that you miss something, don't hesitate, because we can also help you bridging that gap, networking, putting you in contact with other companies and that have gone through that experience, so that are useful to team up to put forward your idea. So we think there is a lot of opportunities, so don't hesitate, really feel free to consult and reach out.
Thank you, Rita.
Yeah, because we have sometimes also controversial discussions, I would like to say it the other way around. Look at the challenges that space has, and then look at your solution that you offer. And if you see that there is a demand in space, then you can go for it. Don't say, oh, I go to space. And I say, what for? Why and how space can help you? And if you identify, oh, I need this technology from space to help me, but then you have a case, because then you have a demand. Just going to space because of going to space, that's cool. We had last times some hackathons, and there were really like 3 space startups. And at the end, it turns out now they're material science and energy startups, because they said, oh, but we are space guys. But they identified a need in energy. So it was like, what is the challenge of the customer? And if there's a space customer, don't hesitate to go there. Then we can say, hey, listen, go to ESA or come to DLR, come to talk to us and say, hey, and we can like give you contacts, or go to the space agencies. There are really also transfer programs to see, oh, there's innovation from space to automotive, space to energy. ESA had a bunch of challenges. And don't really try to separate space and energy. Find a solution. And I don't care if that's a space or an energy solution. It's a solution in space that you can use. And then you're a space startup or energy startup. So I'm a bit coming from a different side.
Thank you, Rüdiger. Oscar.
So from the perspective of TSOs, it's important for startups and investors to understand the scope and what is the reachable market. So we follow regulation. In every member state in the European Union, we have a TSO, except for Germany, where there are 4. But we follow very similar regulation, similar challenges. And the point of collaborating with us is that once you understand our operative, how we operate and what we value, you multiply your results by 40 automatically. You work with 50 Hertz in Germany, or with Amprion, or with Transnet, or with Tenet, and automatically you gain access to a market of multiplied by 40. And that requires some thinking and putting yourself into what these people need. And if you hit there, then of course, using space, combining space with energy comes with a number of advantages, because in Europe we want to try to carry the flag of energy transition, green power, and there are other regions in the world where they also are moving in that direction. They have no other option. So whatever is developed in Europe to serve the needs of TSOs can easily be exportable to other continents where they look at the problem of energy transition in a similar way. So look at us. We are here, open for business.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you for your insights, for sharing your expertise. I don't have an energy startup, but I feel super excited about it. And I feel like almost like a kid standing in front of a big fruit tree full with ripe fruits ready to be picked. And there's so many opportunities there that just, wait to be taken advantage of. And you'll be here for some more time. Please use the opportunity to talk to our panelists, exchange ideas, exchange your vision, and thank you very much for letting us know about your visions.